Bulginaka, do you know that cybercrime is becoming a growing problem in Fiji?
Cybercrime is defined as a crime in which a computer is the object of the crime, such as hacking and spamming.
Cybercrime is also cyberbullying and using fake profiles to cause panic and spreading false news.
If you're involved in this or know anyone who's committing these crimes, report them immediately.
I'm Polly.
And I'm Peter.
We host the Traffic Jam Show on City FM.
From 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. every weekday.
Do the right thing.
In this bulletin, $40 million FRA funds diverted for TC Yasa, service delivery improvements for police, and mobile money use grows.
From the studios of FBC Suva.
The Fiji Roads Authority has had to divert $40 million to repair roads damaged by TC Yasa. Infrastructure Minister Chone Usamate says this is money taken away from projects planned for the year. The Infrastructure Minister says the FRA will have to plan better in order to patch up potholes, but redirecting money to TC Yasa damage doesn't help.
They can patch up as many of the potholes as possible and at the same time try to have some funds to rehabilitate some roads that they'd already planned. They've had to redivert up to $40 million.
The FRA has $334.8 million for capital expenditure for this financial year. Usamate says road rehabilitation is an expensive affair.
It costs far much more, so they will have to be balancing that out for the rest of this financial year.
The Fiji Roads Authority for its part is trying to get the road surface right before liaising with the Land Transport Authority and the Fiji Police Force to optimize traffic flow. The Fijian Broadcasting Corporation has welcomed an Fijian Elections Office survey report that the majority of Fijians gathered their election information via television. FBC Chief Executive Riaz Said Kayum says this solidifies the reliability of traditional news media. Apanisa Wakairadovu reports there are still concerns over the reliance on social media.
The FEO report states that television is the most popular platform for accessing election information, with almost one-third of the audience preference.
It doesn't come as much of a surprise to us. We're just pleased that another independent body has confirmed what we've suspected and have known all along.
Said Kayum says an earlier independent survey showed 73% of Fijians preferred to watch FBC TV news. However, the FEO report highlights that among Fijians who did not vote, 29% turned to social media as their preference medium.
And we're not very surprised that a lot of people that did not vote rely on social media, because social media does peddle a lot of misinformation about what's happening not only in our country but around the world as well.
Social media platforms were used to push misinformation against the 2018 general election, the final results, as well as to tarnish the image of the Fiji Elections Office.
Going into 2022, we will be able to build capacity for all Fijian social media users to be able to point out information that is correct, that is factual, and information that is fake news, or information that has been designed to create disinformation.
Said Kayum adds FBC is committed to campaigning against fake news on social media, which it has been doing in the past. Apinisong Gerdobu, FBC News.
Acting Police Commissioner Rusiate Tundravu has renewed his call for police officers to improve service delivery and professionalism. A Thanksgiving service was held yesterday morning to reflect on the work of the force in 2020. Tundravu commended his men and women for progress made last year and encouraged everyone to aim higher in 2021. He noted that serious crimes also decreased in the last 12 months.
Internally, externally. The very basic thing. That is something that I would like to see improve drastically in this organization. The way that we address people. I've already directed. You address anybody coming interested with you, sirs and madam, irrespective of the status.
Reports of serious crimes in Inkandavu have dropped since the drug operations began in June last year. According to Inkandavu Police Station Officer Inspector Joshua Daveta, reports of domestic violence and sexual offences are on the decline. The Veta says this is likely due to the high number of joint drug raids conducted from June to December last year. He adds 48 people were arrested in that period and 4 people have been arrested since operation started in January this year. The Veta says there is a lot of support from community leaders as they are trying to change the perception of Inkandavu being a red zone for drugs. Meanwhile, the Acting Commissioner of Police, Ravinesh Kumar, has acknowledged and commended the executives of the Methodist Church of Fiji and Rotuma in supporting the ongoing crime prevention efforts on the island. The volume of ATM transactions has doubled in the last decade from 12.6 million per year in 2010 to 23.2 million at the end of 2019. This was confirmed by Reserve Bank Governor Arif Ali during a presentation to the Parliamentary Standing Committee on Justice, Law and Human Rights on the National Payment System Bill 2020. FPOS transactions have tripled since 2010 from 1.8 million to 5.4 million at the end of 2019. In the last 5 years, internet banking has grown by 109%, while the use of checks fell by 57%. Payments totaling 71.1 million were processed through mobile money platforms in 2019, compared to around 13.1 million in 2014. 150,000 customers on Vodafone and Digicel mobile money platform. Retailers in Suva are being urged to make arrangements with landlords if they are struggling to pay rent. Some commercial tenants have raised concerns that they can't keep up with lease payments. Apinisa Wangairodovu reports.
Minister for Economy says he understands the plight of commercial tenants because some property owners show no sympathy.
A lot of the landlords were actually absentee landlords. They were living in Auckland and Sydney, etc. And they refused to bring down the rental prices. They're quite happy to lock up the shops, but they don't to bring down the price, which is unfortunate.
Syed Kayum says while it's difficult for authorities to intervene since it's a market-driven issue, but has urged landlords to think outside the box.
To be able to, go in and start controlling commercial rental, I think, it requires a lot of resources. It is distorting the market, and I think it is foolishness on the part of the landlords to maintain those prices if they still want to have a healthy commercial environment.
Suba Retailers Association President Jitesh Patel says while there is no freeze on commercial rent, landlords and tenants should negotiate a deal that works for both parties.
Some landowners are easygoing and they will listen to you and work with you. But one or two are hard ones that don't want to change anything. But we can't force anyone.
Business operators say a slump in sales has affected revenue, but rental rates has stayed the same since COVID-19 hit. Apinisong Randobu, FBC News.
Up ahead, discipline worries Beba. And police white succeeds on the beach.
Oira na ngone no de nini ena be singa ni mataka.
Mersusunga da kena loma dina kena mikron.
Sakena ngau na mitaro bina na baksa ngai ka wala loma taki na ngone. Dala bina oya o meliki.
Bulre oya o Samuel Samuli.
Nama kikira ena be mataka.
Boniti kena magrombuka.
Ni boy tiri kalima na miniti me ono kina tiri na kaloko. Ena radio Fiji one na ndomo ibiti.
Indaw kina na mataka. Dan ramay na singabo.
Fiji Sevens coach Gareth Beba was impressed with the number of players during the first leg of the Super Series in Singatoga. However, discipline was still a major area of concern for Beba. He says it's great to have the series so referees can practice the zero-tolerance calls. Beba says players will need to be mindful as World Series rules are being applied in local tournaments.
And keeping people on the field, there's got to be discipline and control. It's the #1 priority that World Rugby have issued, and there's obvious reasons why they do that in terms of safety and bringing kids into the game, and there's something we need to improve.
The former Fiji football technical director has withdrawn his employment dispute against the Fiji FA. Ravinesh Kumar had lodged a complaint against Fiji FA with the Labour Ministry, claiming he was owed money. However, Kumar claims he had withdrawn the matter based on a gentleman's agreement that he would be paid and that Fiji FA has not come forward.
As far as we are concerned, we paid every employee their dues. None of the employees, even during COVID-19 times, we had paid the employees and everything.
My withdrawal was done last year on the basis that they will settle my payments. That is the option which I have ticked in the Labour Department form which I have filled.
Police White defeated Tailevu Naitasiri 4-2 in an extra time thriller to win the Fiji FA Open Beach Soccer Tournament in Suva yesterday. The match went down to the wire as both teams were locked at 2-all at full time, and the winner had to be decided in extra time. Police White captain Shahil Dev gave them a perfect start in the extra spell before Tevita Waranivalu scored the final goal to seal the win. Waranivalu says beach football is quite interesting.
Me personally, I'm used to playing in 11-a-side, but playing in the beach, it's a bit tough. Adapting into this game in 2 days, it's quite tough for me and especially for the boys too.
Officiating matches is not easy in any sport, but getting the necessary qualification helps. This is an area where Fiji touch rugby is lacking and wants to bridge the gap soon. Aquila Dama reports no local touch rugby referee has had international experience.
The laws of the game are changing, so it's important to have referees well trained.
As for this season, we are planning we would like to have all the referees on board to be fully accredited for FIT accreditation level 2.
Getting the relevant accreditation would be a step closer to the international arena for our match officials.
At the moment, none of our officials have officiated in the FIT sanctioned tournaments. That's the Pacific Games or the World Cup. But we are planning to develop our referees so that they can participate in the upcoming Pacific Games and the World Cup.
Fiji Touch President Tevita Mau says they are serious about getting the proper help for their referees.
People sometimes might not have the opportunity to represent Fiji, in the playing arena, but some have, in other sports they have ascended to in terms of administration. And we are having the same pathway for our referees.
Fiji Touch Rugby has its first National Club Championship in September, and by then they hope to have more qualified referees. Aquila Dama, FBC Sports.
Occasional rain, heavy at times, and few thunderstorms over Viti-Levu, Inkandavu and nearby smaller islands. The northwestern parts and interior of Vanua-Levu, Yisawa and Mamanutha Group. That's FBC Morning News. Join us at 7 p.m. for our major bulletin. For news you can trust, get the facts from FBC's TV, radio and digital news at fbcnews.com.fj. Take care and good morning.
हमारे खूबसूरत देश फिजी में चाइल्ड अब्यूज की घटनाएं आए दिन बढ़ रही हैं।
क्यों बच्चों का मासूम बचपन अब्यूज का शिकार हो जाता है?
अपने बच्चों की सुरक्षा का खास ख्याल रखें।
उनसे बातचीत करें, उनके दोस्तों के बारे में जानें।
आज के बच्चे देश का भविष्य है। मैं दीप्ति
और मैं मोनिश,
आपके हमसफर। शामिल हो जाए हमारे साथ मंडे टू फ्राइडे
5:45 AM से 10 AM तक
रेडियो फिजी 2 देश की धड़कन पर।